Hi, I'm Stuart Sackett with Drive Under Western Martial Arts. This is Matt Masanari, also with Drive Under Western Martial Arts. We're here at our friend's Portland Judo, and we're going to be talking to you about the rules for the Ringen competition at this year's Pacific Northwest Historical European Martial Arts Gathering. I wrote the rules for this event, and I had a few goals in mind when I did it. We view Ringen as a combat art, as a battlefield art. It's something that was trained before the weapons as a child to build a sportive foundation from which to build martial skill. So when we made these rules, we wanted something that would teach skills that would be applicable to the battlefield. We want people to be aggressive and still controlling in their wrestling. And those are the main virtues we try and create by this rule set. We want people to have fast-paced, aggressive throwing games, but at the same time, not go kamikaze with their throws and give up control of their opponent in the process. We're going to use grips that were advocated historically. We're going to start from a point of attachment. Matt Masanari is going to help me with this. The Ott manual, a lot of other early German manuals, specify that we begin from set grips. They grab the inside of the bicep and they grab the tricep. Left foot is forward. Left hand is on the inside, right hand is on the outside. This is important. These are our starting grips. And these grips do some really awesome things for us from a historical standpoint. If you look at a lot of sport wrestling, there's a lot of patty cake out here to get attached. You patty cake with it. Which, if we look at anything where there's striking involved, modern MMA is a good example, but anytime striking is involved, you close through your strikes and the patty cake becomes less relevant. These grips mean we get to skip the stage that is not relevant to combat. These grips also mean we're aware of our opponent's arms, which is great if we're worried about an opponent reaching for a weapon that's combat relevant too. And it encourages us to attack the arms, very relevant to combat. It's not perfect grips for throwing though, so we're allowed to improve our grips from here. We'll come in and throw. Drive Under is going to attempt to provide Ringen-style wrestling jackets, basically big, tough crew neck t-shirts for everybody to wear. These will simulate the historically available grips. What we see in the manuals is gripping from the upper arms, across the chest, around the belt, around the tail of the jacket. The period we're working for, specifically the period of Ott, Talhofer, and so on, they wore a lot of hose, so we're not grabbing pants. We're not providing pants as a result. You guys are expected to provide your own pants. But the rule is, you're allowed to grab only the cloth provided by the tournament organizers. So, if they have a wrestling jacket, you can grab the jacket. If they have a wrestling belt, you can grab the belt. I'm allowed to grab his leg. I'm not going to grab his shorts or pants or anything like that. I can hook it, I can grab, but I'm not going to grab cloth except for the cloth provided. Like I said, we want the fight here to be aggressive. These are going to be relatively short rounds, either 1 or 2 minutes, depending on the number of participants who register for the event. And we want people to push the pace. We don't want people worrying about not getting thrown so much that they're not throwing. So the scoring system in this is a little unique. It's going to be a round-robin tournament. You get a point for every takedown you control and dominate for a maximum of 5 points in one round. If you get to 5, you win. All right? Now, once everybody's wrestled, we'll tally up the wins. But having the most wins doesn't guarantee you win the tournament. You have to have the most wins and the most individual throw points scored. If one guy has more throws and another guy has more wins, then they got to wrestle off. Whoever wins that round is going to be the overall winner. That's important. We want people being aggressive. We want people trying to finish the fight as if they were on a battlefield and they have to get through one guy to get to the next. With that in mind, any fight that's a draw at the end of the round, if you have a 2-2, 1-1, 3-3, any draw, we go into sudden death. No time limit, first scoring action wins. If you have a 0-0 draw, it means you wasted your round playing defense. You were too hesitant, too careful, too safe, and you lacked the proper martial aggression. We have a saying in Drive Under, there's no shame in losing, but there's a lot of shame in a draw. So, 0-0, no sudden death overtime. It counts as a loss for both fighters. Keep that in mind. Go out there and try and finish. Along with being aggressive, we also want people to be controlled. There's a martial value to being able to throw and stay on your feet, but if your throw doesn't really plant the guy, it doesn't do you any good. There are times you're going to want to follow through a throw, pin a guy down, take him prisoner or stab him, and we see that in the manuals. But a bad habit that shows up in a lot of sportive wrestling styles is people chase the big throw so far they lose control of their landing and they forget about that. So we're going to emphasize that in this scoring system through a pretty simple mechanic. If I throw and I land somebody flat, the back hits, boom, fantastic. I'm on my feet, that's an instant point. The ref's going to call stop and check with the judges. If they just roll through and stagger back to their feet, it doesn't do me any good. So Matt's going to help me demonstrate this. We're in here. First, something that wouldn't score a point. We're in here, we're playing around. I come in, and he just bounces back and I didn't control him. No point there. Now, if we're here, we're wrestling around, I come in, we get that flat slap sound. That's a clear sign I'm going to get a point. Same token, we're in here, wrestling. I didn't follow him down. I didn't stay tied up with him. So I don't have to prove my control on the ground. That's great. But if I throw somebody and I go to the ground with them, the burden of proof is on me to show that was deliberate and controlled, that wasn't a mistake on my part. Matt's going to help me show this. There are a lot of really cool big throws, but you've got to do them so you land in a controlling position. So he's going to throw me. He's going to demonstrate a throw where somebody overcommits. It becomes a scramble, and that's not going to score. Here, we can both scramble to our feet. No point. To fix this problem, to address this and make sure people have a chance to show what they have, the ref's going to give a 3 count. 1, 2, 3. 3 seconds is not enough time to escape a pin. It is enough time to reverse a bad throw. So if he throws without control, and at the end of that 3 count, I land in a pin, that's my point, not his. Alright? By the same token, he can throw with control. Follow through for that pin, for that 3 count. Then it's his point. 1, 2, 3. That last throw is another reason for the 3 count. We see sacrifice throws from time to time in the manual. So we don't want to have a rule as simple as saying, if your shoulders touch the ground, the other guy gets the point. He has 3 seconds to prove that it was a deliberate action on his part, that it was his attack and his domination of his opponent. Another thing we've done to make this a little more martial, a lot of sportive wrestling styles consider shoulders on the mat to be a pin. But there's a lot of benefit if you can put somebody belly down and flatten them out. It's a little bit harder, especially because people's arms will naturally catch them. So we want to divide this a little bit between those throws where we throw and remain standing and those throws where we follow to the ground. And the judges will judge a little more kindly when it remains standing. It will be expected that the person will catch themselves with their arms a little bit. Do you have the floor in frame?
Yeah.
This is going to count as belly down if the other guy remains standing. If Matt just snaps me down by my head, that's a point right there. Alright? There are techniques. Come around the back, pick him up. If I remain standing, that's my point. If I follow him down, it gets a little murkier. So the next thing I want to talk about is giving, for those competing and those who are going to be refereeing and judging, a breakdown of what positions on the ground constitute demonstrations of control and dominance. Some are obvious, some get a little more murky. So that's what we're going to cover next. I'm going to go through some pinning positions on the ground. We'll start with the ones that are really obvious and then get into the murkier territory. So Really simple. We're in here, down. This is an obvious pin, holding his head and arm. I'm past his hips, which are his main lever and place of movement. I've got it squished down flat. This is a good pin. I can come in here, still laying and crossing with my body, still laying and crossing with my body. This is all good stuff. I can come up here and pin this way. This still counts as a pin. I'm past his hips, I'm pinning him flat. I can come in, put a knee on his belly. This is great, this is very martially sound. This works on any terrain, gives you good control. If I had a rondelle, I could start poking him in the armpits, yay me. So this is a great pin. I can come over and sit on it. Also a great pin. So all these pretty clear, obvious positions of dominance. Where it gets a little murky is if I get tangled up in his legs. If on the takedown I get stuck in one leg or in two legs. For the purposes of this, what we're looking for is the posture of the top player. So if I'm stuck in his legs here and I'm sprawled out and tangled up, this is not a position of dominance. If I'm stuck in his legs, I've got my butt low and my head high and he can't come up at me, this is a position where I'm controlling his hips. And again, a position where if I had a rondelle, I could deploy it. Same if I'm here, tangled up, this is a pin. This is not. Now, when somebody goes belly down on the ground, it's a little trickier. If I get here and I can get his actual navel to touch the ground, and I get my knee on him or I get on his back somehow, that's awesome. But frankly, kind of unlikely. He's going to try and get back up, so he's going to start balling up. As long as we keep him on his knees and elbows, he's got those 4 points of contact down, he's in a very defensive place. I can be here, I can be holding him down, here, sprawled on him, here, sucked around the back. But if he starts moving out of this, all 4 points of contact on the ground, then it's messy. I'm not really balanced. We're still in a fight here. So if the ref gets to that 3 count, 1, 2, 3, and we're here where he's engaged in the action of attacking and getting out, I'm not controlling him. I'm not demonstrating control. For belly down, I want all 4 points on the mat if I'm going to score. Those are the basics we wanted to cover for you guys. We want to thank our friends at Portland Judo for letting us use their mat. If you have any questions about this stuff, there are various ways you can get a hold of Drivunder or me. Facebook messaging is probably the easiest because that's where a lot of the organization for this event's been happening. We really hope you guys come out and wrestle.